What up? Back again for another great episode of the Rams Recap, the Sick Podcast. Listen, I got a lot of juicy stuff to talk about. Some Rams fans might be a little mad at me. Some may be understanding because at the end of the day, it is business. So let's hit that intro, Sammy.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Rams Recap with LaQuan Jones.
They rush forward. Burrow to throw for it. He's hit. He's hit. He's sacked. He throws it away. He flings it away on fourth down. Aaron Donald got there, and you can build that man's statue out SoFi Stadium right now. The greatest of all time on defense does it in the biggest moment of Super Bowl 56.
The sickest Los Angeles Rams podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Business. At the end of the day, it is all business. I say this to start the pod off, to jump right into the business, to the meat and potatoes. Right now, Kyren Williams and the Rams are in contract conversations. They were down in Palm Beach for the league meeting earlier this week, but more so looking at it like, man, it's unfortunate that this is the contract year. It's the last year up, but they cannot agree on numbers. It's definitely on the plate. Les Snead said it's on the plate to get done, but it looks like they're having issues of finding what that number could be. And I understand it. That number could live around the 10 to 15 million per year. But honestly, I think the Rams are standing on business and waiting until that James Cook contract hits, because obviously he's over there in Buffalo looking to get a paycheck as well. And if you look at Cook and Kyren Williams numbers these last two seasons, they're kind of similar in as such. They're both top 6 running backs, and understand this. Two completely different running backs, but at the end of the day, the running back market was completely reset because of Saquon Barkley. So now we're in a waiting game. Now, to me, I think Kyren Williams should be a Ram for the next 4 to 5 years. As a Rams fan, I appreciate his work. He's a St. Louis guy, but at the end of the day, it comes down to business. And that's the big important thing to understand here. Now, Kyren's probably going to want to live in that 15 per year. In the upper tier, when we're looking at some of these running backs, you got 10 million through 14 million with Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, and Jonathan Taylor. Now, these are some strong names, some veteran names as well that's getting to that bag that put up extraordinary numbers. But not to discount Kyren Williams' production, the amazing production these last 2 seasons. And perhaps, look at this, man. When you look at the production, what he's been able to do, 32 touchdowns since 2023, which ranks 3rd among running backs. Amazing. He's finding the end zone. That's all that matters to me. Is this guy going to be able to fall into the end zone? He's one of 4 running backs since 2023 to have over 3,000 scrimmage yards and 30-plus touchdowns. That name, that list that lives with these guys is Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and Jahmyr Gibbs since 2023. Now, when you say these names and the names that he lives with, but then you just remember this Eagles playoff game. You remember the first Eagles game. Crucial, very crucial fumbles. And this is where real life football comes into a factor. This is outside of fantasy. This is outside of fandom. This is coming down to business. He leads the league among running backs in fumbles with 8. He leads the league with fumbles lost with 5. This is no good. This is nasty work. We should be the team that should be going to the playoffs with no worries about fumbling the ball. We should be the team that should be in the big dance to go after another ring. Losing the ball, crucial to kick off the 4th quarter in that snow. I understand the weather conditions and all that stuff, and you fumble the ball. Very crucial fumble. But then what happens in the first Eagles matchup at home with no weather? This is what I'm talking about. When it comes down to business, we have to look at the business of, hey, is this guy going to hurt our cap? Is he actually living up to expectations? It's a 50-50 when you come down to the production and then the crucial moments of where he fell flat on his face. But honestly, I really think it would have been different if Blake Corum was healthy in the playoffs. He got hurt on literally the last meaningless game, but we wanted more reps. Us Rams fans, myself, coming on this mic with this camera and this light, saying I want to see more Blake Corum. Since that Saints game, Blake Corum was getting sprinkled in, getting revved up for the playoffs because honesty comes into a factor here. Kyren Williams has a issue with fumbling. He has an issue with ball security, and in crucial moments, if this is going to happen, I'd rather the backup guy get some touches to lessen those chances of happening. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather Blake Corum taking a 60-40 split, so this lessens the chances of turning the ball over and having a solid 1-2 punch. We're seeing so many NFL teams right now in the NFL living and breathing with a 1-2 punch. Obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs and Dave Montgomery at the top of the list, but then there's that middle right there where we can live at, and then there's the Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier situation. Matter of fact, let's go back to Sean Payton and the Saints with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, two different types of running backs, but that 1-2 punch was very hard to stop. That could be us. That could literally be us. But understanding that they're in contract talks right now, that number is probably going to live between that 10 to 15 million per year, but it's going to take James Cook to get paid first. And I also want to say this. Kyren should be very, very cautious because understand, we just took Blake Corum in the 3rd round last year. And Blake Corum, he's a little bit more explosive than Kyren Williams. Also understand, we just got Devontae Adams to help this Rams offense in one of the biggest areas that we struggled with last season, and that was the red zone. So understand, his opportunities of scoring is going to go down. His opportunities of having max touches and being able to run the ball as well as he has these last 2 seasons are going to go down with opportunities with Blake Corum getting revved up as well. So understand that I feel as though Kyren has to take a team-friendly deal because we are right here. We were right here to the Super Bowl, and I understand that it is business at the end of the day. Keyword today, keyword for this month is business. And you also have to watch out because since 2017, since we were blessed with Sean McVay's presence, they have drafted a running back every single year in the 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round, 6th round. It can happen anywhere in the next 20 days. The draft is this month. There are guys that are going to be taken off the board in this draft fairly early and fairly late because the running back class is very, very deep, very deep. So running backs may get pushed down and fall into our lap into that 3rd, 4th, and 6th round. I understand that Kyren, he has so many supporters. I'm a huge supporter, but he has to understand it comes down to business because easily with Les Snead's connection to Texas, we could take a Jaden Blue, very explosive. He can house a 77-yarder. Kyren, not that explosive. Not that explosive. I mean, understand that, he's very great in between the tackles. He could be a passing option as well. But there's a lot of running backs in this draft class that can do the same thing, if not better. So I digress because I honestly feel like this is going to end up messy. I understand that, the Rams may not have the best cap situation to drop a bag on X amount of players, but Kyren has to take a team-friendly deal. He just has to. I just don't understand, how this is going to work before the draft. If he gets paid before the draft and he jumps the gun on James Cook, which honestly I think the Rams should do, so they don't have to wait on James Cook, and then it becomes, we can't. James Cook just got $16 million per year. There's no way we're giving Kyren that on his last year. They may just make Kyren have a prove-it-year deal and franchise tag him. That is also an option. It's an option. There is no 5th-year option, so the franchise tag has to be on the table for this, right? But at the end of the day, there are options in this draft. Blake Corum is coming. The sirens are going, but Blake Corum is real. I understand that, breaking his forearm right before the playoffs, we didn't really get to see max touches. We didn't really get to see the full potential of what Blake Corum has to the table, but best believe this season we're going to see that. We're going to see a lot more of him because McVay is looking to get more creative, to change some things up. Honestly, I'm looking at this season with full optimism that we're going straight to the playoffs, that we're going straight to the big dance, just based on some of the little changes we have made. Now the transition into that 26th spot in the 1st round. Now, a lot of folks are screaming, yelling, Rams folks I'm talking about, that we need linebackers. We need an off the tackle, off the ball type of linebacker. We need somebody that's going to help with the run game. We need somebody that can cover, blah, blah, blah. To be honest, Jahad Campbell's not going to be there. Jalen Walker's not going to be available to us at that 26 spot unless we're going to get very aggressive and move up. And honestly, I don't want us to move up. I'd rather us trade down to get more draft capital if that's the move, because there's so many different ways we can go here. There's rumors and mocks as of late that Shedeur Sanders might drop down to 26. Yeah, I've seen that. I've actually done some simulated like mock drafts where Sanders is there at that 26 spot. And understand that, Jackson Dart is another name that could be available there at that 26 spot. I'm not really a huge fan of Jackson Dart, honestly, but at the 26 spot, and he gets to sit for 2 years and develop, yeah, sure, why not? Neither one of these guys, Sanders and Dart, have elite traits. They're good at football. They have above average, traits that you would love to have a quarterback and develop behind a Matthew Stafford and even Jimmy G, the op he is, but whatever, he's a Ram. But he can learn from these guys and push those ceilings even higher with his abilities. And understand at that 26 spot, we need corners as well. There may be some corners there. There may be some corners that we can get at that 26 spot, but there may be corners that we can get in that early second round, because I'm pretty sure teams like the Browns, the Titans, the Jaguars in that early second round would love to jump back in the first round, that 26 spot, to get maybe a wide receiver, because all these teams need a wide receiver at that back end. I mean, look, Mecca Ibuka could be there at 26. I mean, Luther Burden can be there at 26. Who knows? On the back end of it, I'd rather we move down. It just makes a lot more sense than us pulling the trigger on a player that we could have waited later for, or the fourth best off the ball linebacker. Like, I feel as though at the end of the day, like, we need to make the right decisions to build for the future, not to fix right now. Because to make a point, like, everybody is screaming this linebacker noise and stuff like that. We made some additions to help us in some of those key areas that we struggled at last season. I mean, we're bottom of the table when it comes to pass defense. We were bottom of the table when it comes to the run defense. We address one of these things. Puna Ford, amazing stuffer in the middle. He is going to be relentless, helping us to stop the run. You added Nathan Landman from the Falcons, who was a playmaker, and I say that because he's out there creating mad force fumbles. And then Omar Space should be taking a step further in his sophomore year as a linebacker, who played amazing, by the way, last season, because among the rookie starters at linebacker, he was the only one with 0 missed tackles. And that was one of the biggest, most frustrating things to see happen. Not going to single anybody out. You could probably guess if you're watching the tape, if you're watching the games, you know who was missing those tackles. You know who was out there getting hands on guys, but not completing the tackle. Just know it wasn't Omar Spates. We have areas that we addressed in free agency. So I don't think with high draft capital, we should be gunning and just going full force for sending it on players that are like the fourth, fifth best prospect at the position of what we need. So trade down, get more draft capital, load up on everything that we need for the future. This draft is so important when it comes to the quarterback position, when it comes to that secondary, because honestly, the trenches are good. The trenches are good for the next 3 to 4 years, to be honest. So that needs to be untouched. We also need a right tackle. We also need somebody to replace Rob Havenstein. We also need somebody in that quarterback room that's going to be able to take the keys from Matthew Stafford, and then we could just keep this ball rolling. Because honestly, I want Sean McVay for another 10 years. And I think he's game for it. He's young, but I know he got a family now. He got the kid and stuff. But at the end of the day, if we're winning, why not ring chase? We are the most dangerous team in the NFL, the most dangerous out the West. And we're going to stay that way as long as Les Snead and Sean McVay are in that building and putting up what we need to do on that draft bar in the war room and addressing those areas as such as we've done in the past. So that I want to digress on the linebacker position, the corners, and everything else. There are so many ways that we can go in this draft that I honestly believe that I believe in Les Snead. I believe in Sean McVay that they're going to make the right decisions come draft day in the next 20 days, that we're all going to sit back and be like, I'm happy they didn't jump the gun. I'm happy we didn't go out there and do what I was saying all over the internet and in the comments and screaming at me on this podcast. You guys, I read the comments. Like, I see what you guys are saying. I see the YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, wherever this is being posted at. I see the comments and I understand your concerns. Like, all this smoke for me is coming off of a mock draft that I did. Hey, we even need a tight end. I didn't even talk about the tight ends yet. There are plenty of tight ends that I would love for us to get in. Harold Fannin Jr., an athletic tight end. I honestly think, that'd be a little change up. I mean, Jacob Harris and Gerald Everett, these guys were athletic tight ends that could run routes and stuff, the opposite of a Tyler Higbee. I think Harold Fannin Jr. would be a nice addition and look forward to the future. I mean, there's so many guys. Elijah Aurora from Miami, I like his game. He could be a vertical threat. This is another tight end that we have possibly, opportunities to get in the draft. But I think with that 26th spot, we don't get these guys unless we move down, get the draft capital, because that 26th spot is just a huge question mark of what we can do. There is no direct right answer right there. So I'll be very, very locked in to see what we do on draft night with that first round pick. But overall, I just hope that at the end of the day, we assemble the best draft class again, and we go out there and we win another ring. So I digress. That's today's episode of the Rams Recap, the Sick Podcast. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing. And again, I seriously appreciate all the support you guys on this podcast, in the comments. You guys are very active, and I definitely believe that, we're the best community out there. Rams House, baby. So I'll see you guys next week for another great episode, and hopefully we get some more news. Peace out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Rams Recap with LaQuan Jones on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.